And welcome back to Here I Stand, Ministry of the Christian Emergency League. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about this issue that's been very hot, not only on local, national news, but even on social media. And that is the Carmelo Anthony issue. Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder on June 9th, 2026. And he was sentenced to 35 years in prison for the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf on April 2025 at Frisco track meet. Jurors rejected the self-defense argument and did not choose manslaughter. The sentencing range was from 5 to 99 years, and he was reportedly eligible. He will be eligible for parole after serving half the sentence. His lawyers filed a notice of appeal the morning after sentencing. The likely appellate issues being discussed are jury selection, especially because no black jurors were selected, whether there was a possible Bastin issue. And a Bastin issue, it simply says that you cannot reject jurors based on racial composition. All right. Mm-hmm. This has been commented all over. Celebrities like Cardi B criticized the sentence. She says, wow, just freaking wild, disgusting. This is not justice. This is trying to make an example. And what she's saying is trying to make an example of the black kid. Stephen A. Smith, probably one of the more reasonable reactions. He said this, quote, I would give anything to be able to say something definitively in Carmelo Anthony's defense. Just because you're black and young does not give you a license to murder someone. And he said, yes, close quote, Stephen A. said, yes, he did murder. He did murder the one. Jasmine Crockett, we're going to play a clip of hers because she is, let's be nice, Kelvin, she's special. I'll say she's special. She says this, quote, black women, especially black women who have black male children, live in fear and agony every single day. If a 300-pound man is beating me, I'm not limited to fists, close quote. She's trying to equate what's going on with, in her situation. She's setting up a false analogy of a 300-pound man on her beating her. Representative Christian Menifee, a Democrat from Texas, says this, quote, a travesty, 2 lives ruined. What struck me most is that you had an all-white jury, close quote. That's not true. Mm-hmm. That's not true. You had some Latinos and you had some Mexican Latino and you had some Asians, right? Okay. Troy Carter, Democrat from Louisiana, says, quote, here is a case where a young man certainly appears to have been being attacked and defended himself. Oh, boy. The imbalance in our judicial system as it relates to African Americans and people of color, close quote. And one of your favorite representatives, Calvin, Representative Jonathan Jackson, Democrat from the state of Illinois, says, quote, first of all, they need to reopen it and all the evidence needs to come forward, close quote. What evidence wasn't presented, Mr. Jackson? Yeah. They tried their best to make this a racial thing, Calvin.
Oh, without a doubt. No, I know. Because people make money off of that issue.
Sad.
That is the evil. And you know what? It could be done white or black, but when you try to make money off of inflaming that I think is one of the particular evils. Are you going to play that clip?
Yeah, let's play the wisdom of Jasmine Crockett, representative in the U.S. Congress, not for long because she was redistricted out, but she is a congresswoman from Texas.
I thought she was from Missouri.
No, she's from Texas. She went to school. I think she went to school, and she may have gone to school in Missouri, but no, she's from
you're
Texas.
Right. No, you're right,
because she lost to Tellerico in the.
Oh, okay.
If anybody can make Jasmine Crockett look good, it's Tellerico, but he won. But anyway, here's they asked her a question regarding this. Listen to this response.
But it's my understanding that Carmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing, I don't know what this tool was that they talk about, knife, or some refer to it as a tool. He ended up hitting Austin one time, and it was about where he hit him. One time, 2 inches. This wasn't someone who said, hey, let me stab you 5, 6, 7 times. And so when you're looking at the punishment range, there's a reason in Texas that it goes from 5 to 99 or life, because you are looking at how intentional, like how bad was this? 35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining, and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this black boy said that I was scared, or the fact that honestly anybody else who did something with such a small object, all I know is that it wasn't considered unlawful carrying of a weapon because the blade was not long enough, that they wouldn't even say, well, maybe this was more so something that looked like manslaughter.
Well, Kevin, how can you argue with that wisdom?
The sad thing is, even though we'll point out some of the errors, that probably does capture a good part of how America sadly thinks and reasons, right?
I would say Black America.
Or just left wing.
You think so?
I don't think that's it. I would not put that as she's trying to make that a racial issue.
Of course.
But I think it reflects a lot. I think Dick Durbin might say some of the same points.
Yeah, but Dick Durbin, he kowtows. He's spineless. He walks the Democratic talking point era. So 2 things, and then I'm going to look at this from a biblical perspective. I have 3 passages I'm going to read, but let me say this. If you look at this at all, just look at it. She says 35 years for just going underneath the tent. No, sweetheart. He get 35 years because he murdered.
Yeah.
He did not get in trouble because he went under the tent and it was raining. He took a knife, I think it was 6 inches. And you know what? She has multiple clips in which she keeps saying, I don't know how long it is. It was 6 inches. I believe it was 6 inches.
What I'm seeing is it was a multi-tool, but the main thing is there's a knife that's at least 3 inches in length.
If it's 0.5 inches, it pierced his heart, they said.
Correct.
And so it doesn't matter how big it is.
No, it doesn't.
It was a murder weapon.
Correct.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem. Right now, we talk about, is this a Christian nation? The one God that is reigning in the United States of America and has a lot of influence is the God of victimhood. Mm-hmm. It is terrible, and I have rejected this victimhood thing, and I think most Christians have too. There's three verses I want us to consider as Christians, okay? Here's the first one, Romans 8:31. What then shall we say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give us all things? Who shall bring any charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is it that condemns? Christ is the one who died, more than that, who was raised, who is at the right hand of God, and who indeed is interceding for us. Then watch the question, the rhetorical question 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, distress, persecution, famine, nakedness, or danger, or sword? As it is written, for your sake, we are being killed all the day long. We are regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. What is the context there? He's saying, what can separate us? What can separate us from the love of God that's in Christ Jesus? And then the famous ending, knowing all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. More than conquerors. People, we're not victims. If you're in Christ, you are victorious. But this God of victimhood, if you let victimhood define who you are, what you are supposed to be, what you're supposed to think,
right?
People, in context, that will separate you from Christ.
Yeah.
It will separate you from the love of God if you're a victim first and a Christian second.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Okay, more, time flies. All right, Here's the second one, Ephesians 2:13. But now in Christ Jesus, you who were once far off have been brought near by the blood of Christ. For he himself is our peace, who has made us both one and has broken down his flesh, the dividing wall of hostility, by abolishing the law of condemnation expressed in the ordinance, that he might create in himself one new man in place of two, so making peace, and might reconcile us both to God in one body through the cross, thereby killing the hostility. If you look at it in Ephesians 2, the context is Jew and Gentile. Right. It's race. It's race. And he's saying, how do you defeat it? How do we on earth defeat the hostility the hostility that's inbred in race? In Christ. Yeah. He's made the two men one. Yeah. And you have to do this. I am not a black Christian. I am a Christian who happens to be black. Yeah.
That's right.
Calvin, you are not a white Christian. You are a Christian who happens to be white. Yeah. What defines who you are? It cannot be skin color. Here's the last one. Yeah. John 18:37. Then Pilate said to him, so you are a king? Jesus answered, you say that I'm a king. For this purpose I was born, and for this purpose I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice. The truth is that had nothing to do with race.
That's right.
Nothing. Carmelo Anthony said, touch me and see what happens. He brought a knife to a high school track meet. That's the truth. But you know what? In this pagan culture, most people identify with Pilate. Pilate said to him, what is truth? Pilate turns and he walks out. He doesn't want you to answer.
Yep, that's right.
And when you reject truth, you reject the Christian God of truth. We're up on a hard break, Calvin. We'll finish. If we have anything else, we'll finish on the next